Hello, I'm Ramie.
And this is Dakota.
And you're listening to Leveling Duo, the podcast where two good friends talk about video games that's made an impression on their lives, be it good or bad. Usually it's good.
Yeah.
Can you guess what I'm talking about today for part of this episode?
Well, if I had to make a guess, it would be the new release, Starfield.
Yes. Yes, it would. It is 1:49 p.m. on September 1st. So I've been playing it for a few hours. I didn't get it early or anything, but I did get into the early access. I talked about it, a few days ago? In my time with it now, I have chosen to play as a diplomat.
Okay.
A young dude with blue hair who's a diplomat somehow. Ended up as a miner. That's because everybody ends up as a miner in the story. I'm an extrovert. I chose to have hero worship, of course. So I have the adoring fan follow me around. But that's neither here nor there. I joined Constellation. It looks good. I was worried it would look bad. It's so big.
I've seen a little bit of gameplay footage, and I would definitely, I kind of feel a little bit of resemblance to Elder Scrolls Skyrim.
Yeah.
But to me, it's a lot more cleaner, more polished look. It reminds me actually a lot of a game that I watched a streamer play a couple years ago called Prey.
See, I didn't play Prey. Not the new one anyway, but I know what you're talking about. It does have a Prey-ish kind of feel, some parts of it.
Mm.
Now, the combat's great compared to any other Bethesda game, even though you don't have VATs like you do in Fallout. It's fun.
So, is it just straight up real-time combat? Because I've not seen anything
Yeah,
yet.
it's real-time combat. You have different types of weapons, laser, ballistic.
Is melee a thing?
Oh, yeah. You could choose a whole melee build. There's entire backgrounds related to melee.
Okay.
Yeah, Bouncer is one of them, I'm pretty sure. But no, I chose Diplomat, so I don't really have that. I've got a little bit of extra health. I'm really good at commerce, and I'm really good at talking to people. I planned on being able to sell getting some money to buy better ships, so I'm not so sure I'll be stealing them. I also learned that you have to take the pilot skill if you want to start piloting larger ships. They get A, B, and C. C is the
makes
largest.
Sense.
Yeah. So I'm working on the pilot skill right now. The skills are cool. You take a perk, and then you have the skill related to it. And as you use them, they give you a challenge, and you can level it up from there. There's 4 tiers in each skill.
Okay, so basically instead of it being straight up just pumping points into a skill to make it better, you actually have to show a level of skill to increase it.
Yeah, so it's like Oblivion. You use something in order to make it better, but there's a particular thing you have to do with that skill to unlock the next level of it, to use a perk point on it.
Okay.
In Oblivion, all you have to do is jump around to get your, acrobatics up?
Mm-hmm.
In this, it'll say, use this skill in this way so many times. Like my mercantile skill. I think that's what it's called. Am I thinking of Skyrim or Oblivion?
Possibly.
I think it is mercantile. I'm not sure. But I had to sell 20 unique items before I unlock level 2, and then I can put a point in it and buy that level 2.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, every time I sell something, I have to make sure I sell something different than before, so I get another point towards that. I have decided to go with the main quest for a long period, the Constellation, find the artifact kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Spoilers, I should say right now. Minor spoilers. From what this point on, I might say something that people don't want to know. So far, I've just talked about character creation and how the skills work. So, But I'm sticking with Constellation for now because I've heard a lot of people say that you unlock some cool things if you keep going on with the story, at least until something Into the Unknown starts.
Well, for me, I look at it as it's a Bethesda game. So, in that regard, they have learned that they're really good at doing side quests.
Yeah.
And, of course, main quest stories are, usually pretty good, decent too. But most people tend to ignore the main quest in favor of doing more stuff on the side and kind of coming back to the main quest.
Yeah.
And I'm also one of those people. But if you want to have people be a little bit more drawn to the main story in a sense, you do need to try to make it a little bit more appealing to where, whether it's abilities or items that you get that make playing into, inherently either easier or more fun.
I think it's abilities. I haven't quite got there yet, but I'm pretty sure it's basically your Unrelenting Force Thum from Skyrim kind of abilities. You get you start with those after you get so far in that.
Well, imagine if you had to play through the main story so far before you actually unlocked your perk tree.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to unlock, though. I'll be fair. I have no idea. I haven't got that far because I do get sidetracked slightly by mainly other ships you come across in space, because you can technically be on a planet, go to your stellar map, go to another system and another planet, click on it if you've been there before, and fast travel to someplace on that planet. You don't have to get on the ship all the time if you don't want to. You just skip that entire thing. But I like random encounters out there. I'm sure some people have seen this on TikTok or somewhere. I came across a ship. It hailed me like, hello, hello. And we've been trying to reach you about your soon-to-be expired or already expired ship's extended warranty.
For real.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's been a joke for a long time, but...
They just threw it in the game, and there it is.
As long as it doesn't get old.
Yeah.
I'd laugh at, like, if you're, like, near the end of the game and you have, like, this massive, like, warship that hails you, and it's actually the same, like, warranty salesman or whatever. Like, I've still been trying to reach you about your, like, expired or, warranty.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of being tracked down, I chose Wanted as one of my little startup, 3 perks or 3 skills? Characteristics, yeah. I chose Wanted as one because it will make mercenaries come after you ever so often. And if you're exploring vast reaches of empty space sometimes, it's nice to have a little
interaction,
XP or something like that. I've already found a way to get rid of it. Another spoiler, I just walked up to a lady, I think it was on Mars, and she works for a mercenary group, and she said, for a simple 3,000 credits, I can get rid of that for you. And it said remove permanently as well. And I said to myself, no, I don't want to do it. I haven't even met one yet. So there is ways to get rid of a lot of these. They said they would be. But 3,000 credits, I made that before I got on the ship the first time. There's a lot of inflation in this game. My bounty isn't really that high, apparently.
Well, I'm sure if you start becoming more of a space pirate, that can...
Yeah. I chose Taskmaster as well once. It will make me pay double for any crew member I pick up, but if any of my ship's stats below 50% health, it has a chance of just completely refilling it instantly.
Huh.
So I was like, that's a long-term thing. That's good. I also chose another one for a while there that I think I get stronger the weaker I am.
Okay.
Yeah, like, less health I have, the stronger I get.
I've seen a lot of builds, like, especially like Dark Souls, take builds to where, like, you take advantage of, like, the less health you have, the higher of a multiplier you have on your...
Yeah.
Attacks.
And being a diplomat, I already have higher health. If it gets low, that kicks in. Also, healing stems don't work as well. That was the negative side of that.
Ah.
Yeah.
I do like how they've put, like, a duality.
Yeah, that is good.
In that.
I think the first one to have that I can remember playing personally was Fallout 3. And then Fallout New Vegas had the same skill thing. I don't think they have anything like that in Fallout 4. It's all good stuff.
Pretty much.
Same for Skyrim.
Yeah, it was just pretty much like if you don't have it, then you don't get the benefit of
having
it.
That's what they're called, I think. I might be wrong. But yeah, I came across a couple House Varun ships, the Serpent Worshippers. They're zealots. Apparently, there is a more friendly side of the faction, more diplomatic side, but they've went missing.
Oh.
Yeah. And all they left us was the zealots. I was real tempted to choose them as one of my traits, being a member of House Varun.
I think it'd be cool if they did like something in like a future game that was like futuristic setting, and but did like a time travel sequence where you went back in time, but you like popped up in like Tamriel.
Yeah. Oh man. Of course they put Skyrim inside.
I mean, like, why not?
Found another way to sell us Skyrim secretly.
Yeah, secret DLC, time warp.
Yeah. Hey, I don't want to come across like I'm a person that hates on them selling it. I'm happy it's available on so many consoles.
I mean, I am too, don't get me wrong. I mean, like, I bought it several times myself, and I've currently got it on Switch just to have it, to play when I feel like it. But
I have it. I can't count the times I've bought it, to be perfectly honest, because I go through consoles like crazy. I'll get tired of one, sell it, and get another thing. Now, the game is huge. I should say that. Like, I'm just scratching the surface here. There is so much space. I haven't even touched the shipbuilding, because I know once I do, there's where all my credits are going. As soon as I get to that mission that people keep telling me I need to get to before I drop off the main quest completely for a while, I need to join the Crimson Fleet. I hear it's a good way to make some money.
So it's like guilds or factions?
Yeah,
or...
factions. It's space pirates, the Crimson Fleet is.
Okay.
And where I've unlocked the piloting thing, I have a feeling I need to do some more space combat to get that skill up so I can eventually have huge ships. I want to be Class C pilot. You have the United Colonies, which is, they consider themselves the true descendants of Earth.
Mm-hmm.
They're also the biggest faction and the most, I guess, cohesive. They're more together than the rest. You have the Freestar Collective, which is their biggest rival and more like a bunch of city-states, but they're planets. They're more Western style. You go there, you're going to feel like you're playing Fallout, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ryujin Industries, which I haven't even came in contact with them. Then you have the House of the Enlightened, which is the people I mentioned before who are atheists, more or less, but they believe that the real religion in the world should be this people doing good for other people.
Mm-hmm.
Sanctum Universum, I don't know. I haven't run into them again. And then House of Ruin, the Serpent people, who are just violent for the most part. The Crimson Fleet is this pirates. Spacers are just like raiders in Fallout. Just bad people for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other, like the Trade Authority, who works on all things trade related. You could work for them. The Trackers, which are, I believe, the people who I could have paid my bounty off with. Gal Bank, which is like Galaxy Bank, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't worked for them yet, but I know you could work for the bank if you want to, and a bunch of others. There's just so many different, compared to the other games, there's a lot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I've been working on the main quests, and I fly places, but that's about the only time I come across something out of the way to interact with. So I can't tell you much. It's still very early for me in this game.
It does sound like, so far, though, like you've taken in quite a bit of information so far.
A lot of it was already out.
I get that, but like knowing it, but still being able to apply it into something is different.
I had a basic plan for what I was going to do when I hopped in here, and I already, as soon as I started playing, I threw it out and realized I needed piloting skills. And, you know, I did take diplomat like I planned on doing, just because I've always enjoyed the ability to talk my way out of problems in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done it a few times already. I had a Martian try to lie and tell me somebody I was hunting for had a tab, and if I paid it, he didn't have no tab. I also came across an instructor, someone teaching someone to be a pilot within space, but she had fallen unconscious. I was on my way to Mars at the moment, and I got hailed, "Oh, the ship's taking off again. I don't know how to stop it. Please help me stop it." He was being taught how to fly a ship, but the instructor fell unconscious, and so I had to attack the ship, him screaming, "Go for the engines, don't kill us." And eventually I did stop him. I hadn't unlocked the perk yet to aim for particular parts of the ship, so I was thinking, no matter what I do, I'm going to kill these people, but I guess I'll help. I did. I managed to stop it without blowing up the ship and saved them, and they gave me some credits and sent me on my way. I could have probably blown the ship up and taken the stuff in it, or I could have just got on board, killed them both, and taken the ship, but I haven't tried that yet, so I don't know. I've met a nice man who told me to stay away from a certain system as I was flying around. He called me Charlie 3, and apparently everybody he meets is a Charlie on a particular day because he meets so many of them. He said, "I'm nice as Charlie 3 he met all week," but he warned me about a system that's full of spacers, not to go over there that way. Also gave me a quest to go over that way when he said that, so I guess I'll be doing that eventually. There's just so much to do, and the lore, I'm trying to absorb the lore, because I've had decades to get attached to Fallout and Oblivion and Skyrim. This is a whole new thing, a massive, massive, literal universe made by Bethesda, so we'll see where it takes me in the long run. I will do a full review on this later, because technically this is one of Dakota's episodes I've just commandeered.
It's okay, man. I mean, like, hey, it's Starfield. I mean, like, I look forward to, you know, learning about it and getting to play it too. It's just, I take more of an approach of, I don't want to know anything. Like, I like trying to be like a newborn baby first, you know, like looking at something.
You said that before I talked about it. I could have brought my sister up here or something.
No, it's okay, man. Like, but no, I'm just saying, but I mean, like, I spoilers are inevitable nowadays. Like, with...
If you have social media, they're just going to be there.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's just how it is. I mean, like, I've seen stuff. It's just that, like, I've just not sought out information.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I did have a few critiques. The mapping system for cities and planets, the galactic map is fine, but the other ones, like the local ones, are bad. They need to work on that. I can't find anything. It tells you what districts you're in certain cities, but that's all. You have to look for signs or something like a normal person. Inventory management. I've heard a lot of people complain about it. Now I know what they're talking about. There's a whole lot of navigating. There's a lot of space wasted. You know how on Fallout you can see what's inside of the container you're looking in, and right beside it you see what's in your inventory, so you can mix and match and move them around. You can only see one at a time in this. You have no idea what's in the other one. You're just dropping stuff and hoping for the best, or picking up stuff and hoping for the best. Yeah. They take up a whole section of the screen with an image of whatever you're holding or highlighting, so they can't put anything over there. If they had to change anything, I'd recommend they fix the inventory system. I can see modders doing it for certain systems, but I'm not going to mod my game. I want those achievements. Yeah. Okay. Now, sorry.
Well, I thought today I'd kind of do like a little bit more of like a throwback and talk about an old N64 title. Though I was kind of stuck between wanting to talk about either Donkey Kong 64 or Pokemon Stadium.
What would you rather talk about?
Well, I mean, like, I'm pretty cool with talking about either one as far as that goes. Like, I've played through and beat both of them back in the day. Though we have done several Pokemon episodes already.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've done a Donkey Kong episode.
We have not. I would have learned something about Donkey Kong.
Well, with Donkey Kong 64, I got it back. I'm pretty sure I kind of got it back during launch.
I don't even know when it launched. I was more of a Spyro guy.
Because I actually got the Donkey Kong N64 edition that was jungle green, kind of like that see-through green plastic.
You don't get consoles like it no more.
The game itself was produced by Rare.
Mm-hmm.
With the Donkey Kong 64 console, it was a special bundle. It contained the game pack itself, the special edition jungle green controller, and the console. And it also came with a expanded memory pack, which was usable across multiple games, as far as that goes. But it was a little, aftermarket memory expansion pack.
I mean, that's a pretty good bundle, depending on how much it costs. It's almost better than the bundles you get now.
Oh, yeah. Well, the game itself, it's showing here, was anywhere from like $60 to $70 brand new back in the day.
Really?
Yeah, so I mean, like, that was pretty pricey.
Yeah, that's like now.
Think of it, man. Like, if you paid $70 back in the 90s for a video game, that would transfer to being...
Well, the original Nintendo 64 went for $199.99 in the US.
So, with that in mind, so it's probably about $170 for the bundle. Is what my family paid for it back in the day.
That was a pretty good deal then.
But, let's see. Well, according to just a quick Google search, $170 in, I just kind of like did a ballpark of like 1990, because it was like in the 90s.
Yeah.
Is equivalent in purchasing power to about almost $397.61 today.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
but...
not as bad as I thought, really.
But I mean, still though, like, that would be paying like $400 almost for a console and one game.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, like, nowadays, I guess, comparatively, it doesn't seem as bad. But, I don't know. I still think, like, some of the, like, I buy the stuff, but it seems a little bit overpriced.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
The game was released in 1999. November 22nd, 1999 was when the game was officially released.
Holiday release.
Mm-hmm. I think I actually remember getting it for Christmas, actually.
That makes sense.
Now that I think about it, so, like, that does make a lot more sense.
Yeah. Because that's perfect time to get it.
It was kind of like I guess I kind of considered it kind of like an RPG back in the day, but it was kind of like just another Rare platformer, collect all the collectibles. You had multiple characters in the game that you could play as, that you kind of unlock as you went. You started off as Donkey Kong, and then you acquired Diddy Kong, Tiny Kong, Lanky Kong, and let's see here.
I only knew about Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong.
Chunky Kong, of course.
Yes.
And then you had like your other classic characters like Cranky Kong, Candy Kong.
Candy Kong sounds good.
Well, she was supposed to be like DK's girlfriend, I think, was supposed to be the official lore. The characters all had like their own like special like attacks and like unique abilities and everything. Like Donkey Kong was the only one that could operate levers. Chunky could lift rocks. Tiny could crawl through holes. Diddy could fly. And Lanky could float.
Hover or on water?
Like when you got to the air, like the little like area where you could like utilize his special ability, basically he would like blow up like a balloon, like inflate, and then he would, you could just have like a limited amount of time to kind of like float to whatever point you needed to get to.
Well, that's pretty good if you needed to get somewhere.
And then each of them also had unique weapons and musical instruments that they utilized in the game. The weapons were like what they used for like projectiles, like to shoot projectiles, and then the instruments were more kind of like a AoE effect for attacking enemies.
So just depending on which one you're playing as interacts differently with the...
And as you're going throughout the world, like you had like switches that could only be like hit with specific ammunition. So like for example, like Donkey Kong, he fired a shotgun that fired coconut shells. Diddy Kong had twin pistols that fired peanuts. Tiny had a crossbow that shot feathers. Chunky had a bazooka that shot pineapples.
That seems more reasonable.
And Lanky had a kind of like reminded you of like a blow dart.
Yeah.
But instead of darts, he had grapes.
So this is like jungle warfare at its most basic. I would have never thought of using fruits and other things as...
And then each of them had like their own instruments. Donkey Kong, he had bongos. Diddy had an electric guitar. Tiny, I cannot remember what her instrument was, but I know Lanky's instrument was a trombone, and then Chunky had a triangle.
I have seen the band because you put it on YouTube here once, all together.
And then, like, they also had, like, their special abilities. Like, you could, like, find these floating barrels. Like, if you found a barrel that had, like, all the faces on it, that was how you switched characters. But there was other barrels you could find that would have just, like, one character's face on it, and only that character could use it, but that was what, like, triggered their special ability. Like, for Donkey Kong, he could basically do, like, the, like, star vulnerability from Mario. He would be invincible for a set amount of time. Diddy, he would get a jetpack and could fly.
Mm-hmm.
Tiny would, like, shrink super tiny. Chunky would actually get really big. And then Lanky, he was the one that floated. He'd blow up like a balloon.
You had to get them in a certain order, I'm guessing, right? You didn't just start off with all of them. And
yeah, like you, because like the way the game starts off with, in classic fashion, like Donkey Kong and his family and friends, the Kong crew have a horde of golden bananas that King K. Rool, this big alligator
I have
person,
seen him too.
Steals all the bananas from Donkey Kong and also kidnaps all of his friends. Locks them up in all the different worlds, and, like, hides all the golden bananas all throughout the place. Like, the point of the game is to rescue your friends and get your golden banana horde back. And then in the process of that, like, you take on, like, K. Rool.
He does sound a bit cruel.
Just a little bit.
Why did he even do that?
I don't know, like, it was just the shtick, you know? Like, I remember there was, like, a TV show back in the day that was not animated, but it was, like, CGI. I don't know if it was like because he hated Donkey Kong or if he just like thought Donkey Kong was greedy and keeping all the bananas to himself.
He might have been.
Possibly. But then there was like so many bananas to golden bananas to collect in every stage. There was blueprints to find. Everyone had their own color-coded banana that they could find as well. Because to unlock the boss in each level, you had to find this door, and it was like, I can't remember what it was, but it was like, it kind of reminded me of like two hippos, but like they each had like a number on their belly, and one would be like at 0 or like a low number, the other one would be exponentially high. And to unlock the boss door, each Kong had to go through and collect bananas and then feed those bananas to the statue on the door that was like less full. And once the numbers matched, then the door would open, and you had access to the boss.
Interesting little puzzle.
And then you would get a key when you defeated the boss that went to a lock to K. Rool Jr., which was like a giant crocodile that was in a cage out in the overworld. And if you got all the keys and unlocked him out of his cage, he went on a temper tantrum because, you know, his dad locked him up. And in the process of everything else, like, K. Rool is like trying to leave in like a spaceship, but then Junior basically like swats him out of the air, and then he crash lands, and then you go into the ship, and then that's how you face off against K. Rool, and actually he's the final boss of the game. Like he like drops the crown in the cave, and he like becomes like a old school like Mike Tyson, and like it's a boxing ring and everything.
What?
Yeah, you know, it's just that era of like kooky games.
Yeah.
You know?
While you were playing this, I was playing Conker's Bad Fur Day, I bet.
Probably.
Yeah, because my family, they didn't keep track of what I was doing, I guess.
Oh, and there was also all kinds of other different options to it, too. Like, there was, like, mini games that you could find, like, in the game. There was, like, some throwback games to the classic Donkey Kong and Jetpack that you could find, like arcade machines.
Yeah.
In-game and play those. Also, too, there was an option with some of them to where you could transform into animals.
You already are animals.
Well, transform into different animals.
Okay.
Like Donkey Kong, he could transform into a rhino. If you got into a certain barrel, you could turn into a rhino, then a rhino could, like, destroy barriers and take out enemies, like, in one hit and that kind of stuff. And then Lanky was able to turn into a swordfish.
I never would have seen these coming.
Yeah, like I say, man, like, it is kooky as hell, but it was fun. Like, it was a lot of fun, it was goofy, and, you know, like, definitely, like, if you've never played it before, either grab your N64 and local, you know, go to a local game shop or something, check them out, or find other means. You might have a friend or family member that might have access to be able to help you out.
Surely there's a way to play it.
And then there was also a separate multiplayer mode that you could play with 2 to 4 players, because like the N64 had 4 ports to it, so you could have 4 controllers at a time.
Yeah.
And in that, you could do a couple of different mini games like Monkey Smash. It was kind of like deathmatch style mini game, where however many players wanted to play would each have like their own like sets of ammo and stuff, and basically like try to shoot to kill. Well,
Maim.
yes. Like you're like taking the like, because everyone has like a set number of lives,
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to take like their lives away before you lose yours.
Okay.
And they have like King of the Hill style stuff, all kinds of different things, and like it was just a lot of fun. The boss fights were not too bad. The story was entertaining enough, but I mean it was like anything else. It was just nothing that was super serious.
Yeah.
If you've played other Donkey Kong games like Donkey Kong Country on Game Boy, like you get the basic concept.
It makes me think of like Nickelodeon for some reason when you talk about it.
You know how your health was counted in this game? Watermelons.
Watermelons.
Yeah, like you had like a whole watermelon, right? And it had 4 chunks to that watermelon, and whenever you would get hit by something or take damage, so many like pieces of watermelon would be taken away. And when you hit 0 watermelon, like you would get a game over.
Yeah.
But then you could like find watermelon out in the world and like refill your health back. It was all about fruit, man.
I could tell.
It was
See?
just fruit. Like fruit was the bottom line. Bananas, watermelons, coconuts.
The bananas made sense, but all this is news to me, except for the fact they had a band, because I did see a video of that.
It's cool.
It sounds like a lot more exciting than I thought it was going to be. I just expected you jump a lot. I didn't even know about the other characters being involved in the gameplay. I just thought they were backdrop people.
Nah, like they're full-on playable characters, man. Like this was like the same era of like Mario 64. When Nintendo was expanding into the 3D scene and giving you more like open world style games to explore instead of just being like a 2D side scroller. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were still like platforming elements in the game too, with the exploration and everything else, but like
There's a whole lot more to it.
Yeah, like with the advent of 3D and having that third dimension to be able to explore at the time, it just made a big difference for a lot of people.
It certainly did. I remember thinking it looked so good. And I went back and tried to play some. And like Conker's Bad Fur Day and all that stuff. And
kind of hard to look at now.
Yeah, some of them don't look that bad. Mario's a little bitter because I guess it's so bright.
Which, in luck though, if any of y'all are Switch players, if you're not already aware, sure most of you are, that a lot of the older Nintendo titles, including N64 titles, are available on emulator on Nintendo Switch. I guess you can call it emulator, but if you have like the Nintendo Online membership, you can access some of those older games and play them on your Switch.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I want to throw in here, anything we talk about that I can find, I'll put an Amazon affiliate link in the description of this episode, so you could just click on that, and if you get anything, it'll help us out, and it won't charge you a penny extra, and you get Amazon's quick shipping or whatever.
And I'll give you a heads up, if you do decide to get you an N64 to play, to get that classic feeling. If you've never played on an N64, be prepared, because that controller is a little bit confusing.
It looks like a Trident.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Whatever I can find, I'll throw in there, and excluding the Starfield and Xbox and all that stuff, we'll put it all in the description. How long did you play this game?
I played it off and on for about the first year that I had it, but then, sad as I am to say, I hit a kind of a roadblock in the game. There was a boss that was like this giant, like a Frankenstein-esque jester in a boss that you had to fight with Tiny Kong.
Like a Jack in the Box?
Yes.
Okay.
And like it would flip around and stuff like that, the arena that you were on, and you had to jump and fly or kind of glide to different squares and then like stomp or slam or whatever, like on the appropriate color to cause them like to shock and everything. For some reason, I just couldn't do it back then.
Yeah.
I remember I put it down for probably about a year or two and never went back until one day I was just like, you know what, I'm going to like sit there and play this game. And I remember I kind of like somehow soft-locked because I had like done something, even though I hadn't defeated the boss in that level, I was able to unlock levels past that. And for some reason, I guess me doing that like kind of like soft-locked the game because I'd done certain things that I shouldn't have been able to do yet.
It was before mods.
Well, this was me, I guess, just kind of glitching.
Yeah.
And so I ended up just starting completely over from scratch and playing through. And at that point, I had no problem. And I went kind of like streamlined through the game and actually beat it the proper way. No cheesing.
Well, there you go. See, I did the same thing of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. I played it for a few hours when I first got it. Got stuck somewhere, couldn't get past it, sucked at it, put it down. And about a year later, I decided I was going to plop it in there and give it a shot. I had a great time. I loved that game. I can even remember now why it bothered me the first time. Something happened, I guess. But you surprise yourself sometimes like that. You take a break, sometimes a particularly long one like we did.
Mm-hmm. Well, also, too, games back then, not trying to call Donkey Kong necessarily like a very hard game, but the difficulty overall of games back then was inherently more difficult than it is now.
Especially if the Nintendo 64 controller.
Like, it wasn't quite Castlevania hard, but it had its moments. If you were not aware, and you were just kind of like figuring out as you went, you'd have a hard time sometimes, but it was still a lot of fun.
We had fun. I never played the game, but I know I liked the Nintendo 64 quite a lot. I played it for years.
Pretty much, just the ending notes on that is that you can play the game for a few hours, stretch it out over a couple of days if you like. It's definitely worth a play, though it can be a little hard to look at from the dated graphics on it. But if you're a fan of Donkey Kong and never have played it, I definitely recommend giving it a try.
I'm still not a platformer guy, so I might not do that, but I will probably watch some more videos about it because I had no idea there was so much in the game.
Like, it's more exploring, puzzles, platforming. If you enjoy Zelda, especially the newer Zeldas where it's the concept of it's more open world, you're exploring different areas and stuff, it's really cool in that respect. However, it's just, you have the main hub world, and then you unlock the different leveled worlds as you progress throughout the game.
Oh, like the portraits in Mario 64.
Per se, yes. Because you're on DK Island.
Okay.
And then K. Rool has his ship docked not far away from your island. And you can travel back and forth between the two, because there's two different levels that you face on his ship, and then the rest of them are all areas that are actually a part of the island.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have full access to each of the levels until you do certain things as you progress.
I understand a bit
This
more.
is the era of Spyro and
That's what I was playing.
Crash Bandicoot. And if you played games like that, same kind of concept. You've got your main hub world, you're playing through the story, and you unlock new levels by unlocking new worlds.
Well, like I said, I played some Mario 64 and I played a lot of Spyro. I just didn't play Crash or Donkey Kong. And the same goes for Starfield. I can't say for sure, but so far I'm loving the game, and I do recommend you play that.
Well, I definitely do plan on playing that whenever I get the opportunity to, man. I need to get me a PS5 and then get the game, and I should be good to go.
Dakota?
Yes.
It's Xbox exclusive.
Shit.
Yeah. But you've already bought everything for your PS collection, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do eventually want to get another, I'd prefer to get an Xbox system too. I like having both. I'm like, okay, I'll have the Xbox in the living room, I'll keep the PlayStation in the bedroom kind of thing,
Yeah.
But day at a time, $1 at a time.
That's the way to do it. That's all we can do, really.
Oh, yeah.
If you like what you heard here or watched here, because we are putting these on YouTube now for people who don't know that, I'll put a link to all that in the description. Depending on what you're listening to or watching, the link to the opposite version of it will be in the description too. There'll be either a podcast or a YouTube link. We are part of the Gruesome Gaming Group. We have 3 podcasts total, including this one, Horrific History and Hauntings, which is a podcast I do with my sister about exactly what's in the title, Horrific History and Hauntings, and Brother Knows Quest. It's another one I do with my sister where I talk about tabletop role-playing games each week, a different one each week. And she tells me what she thinks about it. Whatever you're listening or watching us on, leave a like or subscribe if you want to see more of it. Also leave a comment if you can, depending on what you're using, a review maybe.
Yeah, we gotta bow to the almighty algorithm, as they say.
Yeah.
And just, we definitely want to honestly, get y'all's honest feedback and tell us what y'all think. If there's anything that you enjoy specifically that you'd like to hear more of, or anything you'd like to have us change up and do better or do different, let us know. We're doing this, trying to have a little bit of fun while we're out there. But if you guys, like anything specific you'd like to hear, we'd like to hear it.
Yeah. I also learn a lot. Dakota plays a lot of games I don't play, so I hear a lot about them. I learn more. Next week, I will probably talk about some more Starfield.
Sounds good to me, man.
Okay, I'll have a lot more time under my belts.
I might, to kind of do a duality there for Bethesda, I might try to see if maybe play a little bit of Skyrim.
Oh, yeah.
And kind of do like a comparison there,
Because I haven't played Skyrim in a few months now, I don't think. I dabble.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I jump back in it so often. Anyway, thank you for listening to Leveling Duo. I've been Ramie.
And this has been Dakota.
Logging off.
Logging off.